What is up, all my beautiful fellow mother geekers? I hope you're having a great day, great night, wherever you are in the world. So today, I have some movie news for you. And I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about this particular bit of movie news. But you know what? I want to talk about this because I am a big DC fan. I have been a fan of most of the DCU movies. And in particular, the Snyderverse. I have been a big fan of those movies. Snyderverse as in Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League. I really like those movies. I actually really love them. And I know some of you don't. Some of you are very happy to see that entire era of the DCU come to a close. You know, teach their own. It is what it is. So, I want to say though, I am excited. More curious than excited, but excited nonetheless about the future DCU, not DCEU, DCU. It's different. It's different. We are getting a new Superman Legacy movie that is being directed and written by James Gunn. For those of you that don't know, he directed and wrote all of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He also did the Suicide Squad, the newer one that came out a couple of years ago. He did that. He's also known for a lot of other movies. If you're not familiar with his work, check him out. He's a really good director, really good writer, really good filmmaker in general. And his casting decisions are generally on point. So, James Gunn is going to be directing and writing Superman Legacy. And Superman, aka Clark Kent, and Lois Lane have been officially casted. Excuse me. So, David Corenswet is going to be playing the role of Clark Kent, aka Superman, and Rachel Brosnahan has been cast as Lois Lane. Now, before I break down these casting choices one by one, let me just say in general, I'm really happy with this. David Corenswet has been one of the favorites as far as like fan cast go. And for good reason. I mean, look at the guy. He looks like Superman. He does. He looks like Superman. And a lot of people have said that he looks like Henry Cavill, a younger Henry Cavill, which is fair. But I think it's more David Corenswet and Henry Cavill both look like Superman from the comics. They look like Superman. For what it's worth, I originally didn't love the choice of David Corenswet, or I love the idea rather, because of the resemblance to Henry Cavill. But one of my friends, Steven, shout out to you. You converted me with all of your lack of infinite wisdom, but you know what? You converted me nonetheless. He's the right man for the role. He is. He just has the look. And he has the voice. And he also has the acting chops. I think this guy's going to be really good. He wasn't my initial favorite. I was personally wanting that Wolfgang guy. I can't say his last name. I'm not going to butcher his last name, but his first name was Wolfgang. Those of you that have been following all of this, you know who I'm talking about. But then I heard the guy talk, and I was like, nah. I was like, no. No, the voice ain't right. And I think the voice is honestly just as important as the look. I really do. Some of you might disagree, but I really do believe that. And this guy has both of them. He has both the look and the voice. And he also has the personality traits that you would expect from Clark Kent. So have you seen the movie Pearl? Have you seen Pearl? He's in that movie. That's the only movie I've seen him in. And he is fantastic. He's the projectionist in that movie. Doesn't he look, for those of you who have seen it, doesn't he look like an old school version of Clark Kent? I think he does, except he has a mustache. But maybe they can just CGI that often. Anyways, that's Vietnam flashbacks. But anyways, I think he's gonna be great. I really do. And he's also like 6'4". He's gonna be freaking gigantic. I'm pretty sure he might be the tallest actor to play Superman. I don't know that for sure, but yeah, that Joker's tall, and Superman should be really tall. Now I know some people have been saying, you know, he's too skinny for the role of Superman. God, I hate that. I hate that take so bad because it's ignorant. It's an ignorant take. And I'm sorry. Like, I don't mean to pick on anybody, but it's an ignorant take. It's not like he can't buff up for the role. Does anybody remember what Henry Cavill looked like when he tried on the Superman suit for the first time in the auditions? He was scrawny. So I'm just saying. You know, and there's so many other examples. You know, Hugh Jackman, before he got the role of Wolverine, he was scrawny too. You know, these actors can buff up for the roles. People act like they can't, but they can. You know, really, you're just mad that you know they're going this route and not the route you wanted them to. Just be honest with yourself. So as for Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, ever since I heard that she was in the running, and let me be clear, I have not been familiar with any of her work. I have not seen anything that she's in. I know she's in some show called Miss Maisel or something. I've never seen it. I've heard of it. Doesn't seem like anything I'd care about. But I looked up some YouTube clips. I wanted to get an idea of like her personality, the way she delivers lines. You know, what kind of charisma does she have? And she's been my pick for Lois ever since I heard that she was in the running. None of the other actors that were in the running really did anything for me, if I'm being honest. I think she not only looks the part, I think she is A plus casting at every possible level. She is A plus casting for Lois Lane. I think that she could very well be the best Lois Lane, if written properly by James Gunn. I do believe that she could end up probably being the best Lois Lane ever on screen. And look, I like Margot Kidder. I think she was a great Lois. I like Terry Hatcher from the New Adventures of Superman, Lois and Clark, whatever. I liked Erica Durance. I liked Amy Adams, but I think I think she has some real potential to be great, to be to be an absolute legend in this role. But something that is very important here, something that is very important, is not just how these two act individually. It's not what they bring to the table individually. That's important. It's not the most important aspect in regards to this movie. Do not understate, it cannot be understated how important the dynamic between Clark Kent and Lois Lane, Superman and Lois Lane, has to be for this movie to work. One of the big criticisms with Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and I guess Zack Snyder's Justice League, is that the chemistry between Henry Cavill and Amy Adams was not great. As someone who loves those movies, I can agree with that. I know some of you won't agree with it. That's fine. But they were not a good match, in my opinion. They just weren't a good match. Their chemistry was just too forced. I think it got better from, like, in Man of Steel, it was utterly terrible. I'm going to be just straight up honest with you guys. It was utterly terrible. I thought their chemistry was awful. And again, I love that movie. In Batman v Superman, it got better, but it still felt forced. In a lot of ways, it still felt forced. And that was a big point of criticism for those movies and why they didn't work for a lot of people. A big reason as to why they didn't work for a lot of people. It's the same thing with Superman Returns. Brandon Routh and Kate Bosworth. They just weren't a good on-screen match. Didn't really believe their love story. The relationship component has to work. The two have to mesh very well together. And based on what I've seen, I believe that these two are going to be an on-screen match made in heaven. All right. Like nerd heaven, that is. So yeah. I like both of these castings. I'm happy with both of these. Now that leaves Lex Luthor. There are a couple of actors who are up for the role that have been confirmed anyway. That's Alexander Skarsgård and Bill Skarsgård. Two brothers are vying for the same role. Isn't that interesting? Bill Skarsgård, some of you know from the John Wick 4. He was great in that. Also as Pennywise in the It remake and its sequel. He's a great actor, but I don't know if he, like, here's the thing about Bill Skarsgård. I think he's a better actor than Alexander Skarsgård. I think he could pull off Lex Luthor's personality. I think he could pull it off very well. I just don't know how I feel about the look. I need to see him with a bald head. Ultimately, I have to see him with a bald head to get a good idea of whether or not I believe he can pull off the role. I have no idea, or no, I have no uh, doubts that he can pull it off from a pure or from a sheer acting standpoint. It's the look. I'm not sold on the look. Alexander Skarsgård has the look. I don't know if he has the acting chops to successfully pull off Lex Luthor. Some of you might be more familiar with his work. I really haven't seen him in much of anything. The only movies that come to mind are Tarzan and that movie, The Northman, that came out last year. And I know he was also in True Blood, but I'm not that familiar with True Blood. I've watched several episodes, but it's been a really long time since I've watched it. Uh, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about him. Personally, I would rather them go older for Lex Luthor. That's what I would like. All right, guys. So there was a minor slip up here. I did not realize that Alexander Skarsgård is like in his 40s. I don't know how I didn't know that, but I didn't. Uh, Shout out uh, to my girlfriend for letting me know. She's not even a movie fan like I am. I'm embarrassed. Damn it. But I have a feeling they're not going to do that. I'm going to mention a casting choice that I would really like for this movie. And some of you are going to call me woke and all this and that. Whatever. I just think he's a great actor. He has familiarity with James Gunn. James Gunn has familiarity with him. And I just think he would be perfect. And that is, and I can't say his name, but it's the actor that played the High Evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I thought he was phenomenal for the most part. There were times where he got a little too cartoony for me, but for the most part, I thought he was incredible, and I think he could pull off the role of Lex Luthor very, very well. I would really love to see him as Lex Luthor. And aside from him, you know what? How about Bryan Cranston? Let's bring that back. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Not Bryan Cranston. Love Bryan Cranston, but let's not go there. Um, but yeah, I know Nicholas Hoult was rumored to be in the running for Lex Luthor as well. He was also in the running for Superman, but obviously he lost out on the role. Nicholas Hoult to me just doesn't look like Superman, so I understand that. I was never big on him for that role. For Lex Luthor, it would be interesting. I'm not going to write him off. I'm not sold, but I would find it interesting. It'd be an interesting take. Look, here's the thing. With Superman Legacy, they gotta play it safe. I know a lot of you don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. With this new DCU in general, James Gunn has to play it safe. They can't take a lot of chances because the DCEU has lost Warner Brothers so much money. They can't afford to be bold. They can't afford to take too many chances. So they need to play it safe with all of their casting choices. That doesn't mean you got to cast all white people in white roles, whatever. But the core character traits need to be present. The core character traits need to be present. That is so important. We don't need another Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor situation. I know a lot of you loved his take on Lex Luthor. I did not. I did not love it. No matter how many times people try to convince me, I just can't get with it. I just can't. But, it is what it is. Hopefully, hopefully they cast the right person. You know, they played it safe with David Cornsweet as Clark Kent as Superman. I mean, you can't play it more safe than him for the role of Superman. Same with Rachel Brosnahan. Uh, you can't play it any more perfect or any more safe, but also perfect. So, yeah, guys, I'm looking forward to this. I'm more curious than I am excited, but I am excited nonetheless. One thing I'm not really excited about, if I'm being completely honest, I don't love that this is Superman basically just starting out all over again. This is essentially an origin story, even though James Gunn has said that this isn't an origin story. It basically is. It's when he's first starting out at the Daily Planet. He's going to be a 20-something-year-old Superman. I'm guessing he hasn't showed up as Superman yet by the time of this movie, or as far as the events go. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It still feels like an origin story. So that's the one thing that I'm kind of like, maybe not a great idea. You know, I think we're at a point. Here's the thing. I think we're at a point as fans of these kinds of movies, of comic book movies, superhero movies, whatever you want to call them. We are pretty much done with origin stories. And we want fun, action packed comic book movies. That's what we want. I think the era of the origin story, superhero origin story, is all but over. I think it should be saved, I guess, for more obscure type characters that need that extra explanation for the masses. But for characters like Superman, like Batman, do we really need origin stories? I don't think so. That's my one gripe. That's the one thing I'm a little annoyed by. But other than that, I'm ready to go. But anyways, guys, if you like this video, please do hit me with a thumbs up. Comment below. Let me know if you want more videos like this. Obviously, I don't make a whole lot of videos like this. I have in the past, but I don't know. They never really gained much traction for me. This is primarily a horror channel, but I love DC. Hell, I love Marvel. And I am down to talk about all of this stuff. But this is more of a horror-centric channel. And if you are a horror fan, I'm going to be doing more videos like this for horror movie news. But like I said, I will also still be talking about the developments within the DC universe and probably the Marvel universe too, but probably to a far lesser extent. But yeah, guys, if you like this video, again, comment below. Let me know what you thought. Hit me with a thumbs up. It's gratefully appreciated, or greatly appreciated, whatever you want to say. It's very, very much appreciated. And also, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. It would mean the world to me. It would put a big smile on this face. It would brighten up my day. It would be awesome. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'm Blake, and y'all have a good one.